Coming to you live here from Puri Park in Daejeon, Korea. We're here today with the third, I believe, qualifier here for HomeStory Cup number 21, Lost Island. It is going to be the first of the Korean qualifiers. Obviously, 4 players going to be coming out today, but we are going to have to determine which ones. I am, of course, Yakuzaku of Nizaku, and with me today is el cocinero de lasaña que es famoso en todo Narnia, Light_VIP. How we doing, Light?
What is up, Yaku? Yes, we are back here with our third qualifier in a row. This morning we covered the Latin American qualifiers, and now we are here with the Korean qualifiers. Oh boy. And mate, the bracket today is stacked as hell.
It is very stacked, but continuing the trend, I think, of the previous qualifiers we had, we're missing a couple of big names. Ones who fail to check in, which obviously means that there's a lot more opportunity for a player like our player spotting in here in the top right-hand corner map, all the way in the top right-hand corner, our blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Kwangdong Freaks. Fun fact, I actually had to look up what KDF stood for. It slipped my mind, that was the abbreviation. He is Armani.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the South Korean Terran player himself representing Team GP. It is Ryung. It's our boys.
It's our boys. One of them we've been following for a very long time in the ESL Open Cups, and the other one we named an entire tournament after.
True. For those who do not know the story, of course, the CranKy Ducklings have very close ties with the team Axiom, and Ryung was a part of that team. Yaku even owns a keyboard with Ryung's name on it.
I do, printed on my spacebar.
There you go. So we do have quite.
I'm afraid to wash it in case the printing breaks down.
It can happen. It can wear and tear over time, so be careful with it. Be careful. But yeah, we have close times with our boy Ryung here. We named Sparkling Tuna Cup after him as well. His name is Dongwon, which is a tuna brand in Korea. Likewise, Armani is one of the first players that we casted, back in the day, like when we started when we were the C stream, I believe, for IEM Katowice 2020, before even the EPT, the ESL Pro Tour, actually.
Yeah, actually.
Maybe in 2019, actually.
May have been. But anyhow, that all panned out, and obviously it was really cool to see Armani's rise, so to speak, throughout 2020 specifically, watching him from each weekly event becoming a semi-finalist in GSL, but he has taken a little bit of a, I don't know, it feels like he's taken a little bit of a hiatus throughout 2021. But it's cool to see him back in 2022.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Armani kind of peaked for a while, and then kind of, there was a bit of a lull where he was still being active, don't get us wrong, but maybe not as active as he used to be. He wasn't playing in all the weekly tournaments, and because of that, it did feel as if, skill-wise, he stagnated a little bit. But, maybe this year is going to be his return. He's still a very good player, a very strong player, and I can't wait to dive into this TvZ. Meanwhile, we do see a pretty economic opener here. It was a 3cc before Starport from Ryung. Nothing too crazy, a little bit more economical. But in the early game, there was a little bit of back and forth. He even managed to snipe a creep tumor earlier, if you saw.
Yeah, not something that happens too often with Single Reaper, especially when there is a Queen to guard it. But Ryung somehow managing to pull it off. And there's something pretty interesting coming out from Ryung. He isn't walling off his natural base. Now he is. But initially he wasn't, and that's entirely because he's banking on these Hellions to be extremely active across the map and preoccupy the army of Armani for the time being.
Definitely, man. He is opening up with 8 Hellions in total, as well as I almost said Banshee, as well as a Liberator. So Liberator is going to be moving out across the map, and the Hellions are looking to hit at the same time. And now it's all going to come down to Armani and whether or not he can split up his queens and defend both places at once without losing too many workers.
And it's a pretty tough thing to do, you know? Swing your focus like that. We'll see where the Liberator ends up sieging up eventually and where Ryung ends up diving in.
Yeah, that's kind of the big question. I think the added bit of difficulty here is that Ryung does have a Viking, and it's already got 1 Overlord kill, so it's been slowly like keeping Armani in the dark. It means it's going to be that much more difficult for him to have an eye on the Liberator and whether or not it goes for the main base or for the natural instead. Meanwhile, the Hellions are just, you know, threatening the main army, threatening the front door for the time being, and that Lib is sneaking in.
It is sneaking in. It is right on top of the Queen. Thankfully, Armani is able to readjust his positioning a little bit, but not when it comes to the drones. A lot of them are already falling down. The Lings are getting eviscerated by the Hellions, but these Hellions aren't going to get much more than that.
Yeah, and in the end, the Liberator does get picked off, but not before getting 7 drone kills. So in the end, well worth it here for Ryung for that 1 Liberator. He also lost a handful of Hellions, 2 Hellions in total, which isn't ideal, but you can see, mate, he killed 20 Lings. Damn.
Yeah, that can really have a knock-on effect as the game continues, but thankfully for Armani, he will not have to worry about getting pressured too much for the time being. He can work on saturating that 4th base that he just got up, or just threw down, sorry, or taken up. You know, ball is a little bit more in his court.
Yeah, he's defended like the first wave of aggression. Now he's free to expand, to drone up. He's actually double expanding right now. I think it makes a lot of sense because his 4th base is, you know, a little bit not quite when he wants it to be. It was delayed a little bit. You know, meanwhile he's getting his upgrades. So far, just pure Ling Bane. We aren't really aware of what kind of tech he wants to go into.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be taken up for a while either. Macro Hatch just got thrown down in that main base. This is giving me some old school dark vibes coming out where it's just straight Lingbane into Ultras, or at the very least Lingbane into Hive.
Yes, I agree. This does look like Lingbane straight into Hive. Whether it's going to be for Ultras or even a later Lurker switch, both are definitely viable. Both are possible, but Lingbane is all that he's going to have to work with, and it does mean that drops are going to be a little bit unhindered. We do see a double drop into the main base. Oh, there was no Overlord to spot this, by the way.
That Viking, man. It's really been working overtime, denying as much vision as possible here. Ryung does sort of confirm that's a macro hatch, that's a lot of Lings. I have a feeling you're not going to be taking up for quite some time, buddy, so I am going to take advantage of the fact, I'm going to take advantage of this, particularly the fact that you probably don't have much anti-air.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, looks like there was a little bit of a run by. Only 2 SCVs went down, so the Baneling run by didn't really do much of anything. The drop is still alive, threatening, and I love that we do see a switch into Widowmine production here. I believe we saw a 2nd factory as well. Going into Widowmines will definitely help, and now we finally see what the tech option for Armani is going to be.
Interesting. Okay, so he's still going into Hive from here, but he does throw down that Hydra then, so he wants to switch into Lurkers. I do like this a lot from Armani. You know, not only are Lurkers extremely good in the late game here for ZBT, but having a couple of Hydras here and there helps you out a lot in preventing your drops from landing.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Armani has been keeping up with the current meta, and going straight into Ultras is, you know, a little bit more old school, as you were pointing out. Lurkers is the more kind of updated version of that, and yeah, so far, Armani just has to defend, just has to hold long enough to make Lurkers.
We'll see if Ryung is willing to give him that time. For the time being, he's being as active as possible with 2 armies on the map.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of creep is being cleaned up here. It does mean that Armani is having a hard time getting to the halfway point here with said creep. Meanwhile, double drop back in towards that 4th base. Oh, 1 drone does go down. Armani kind of struggling to keep up.
Yeah, the Banelings now hatch, but there's the link buffer has been taken care of. Thankfully for Armani, Ryung did have his own focus split a little bit as well.
Exactly, the drop gets cleaned up. Nice target fire there with those queens sniping all of those medevacs. Meanwhile, Ryung still has a force here towards the left, but it is only 1 force. Now Armani has to just focus on this. Widowmine shots go up. Oh, decent shots, but not good enough.
Yeah, if that shot connected with the Banelings instead of the Lings, then I think Ryung may have just had an opportunity to keep some momentum up, but unfortunately it took out a lot of Lings, but Lings are expendable.
Ooh, that they are. Meanwhile, a bit of a Baneling run by here. There is a wall, but two Banelings managed to get through anyway. Oh, they just get detonated here at the gas geyser. So once again, only 2 SCVs go down.
Yeah. Couple of supply depots. Not gonna do too much to supply block Ryung, but I'm sure it's annoying at the very least.
Oh yeah, definitely. I like how Armani, he immediately came back with a Ling run by, but Ryung was so quick to rebuild that wall. It was instantaneous, mate. So the Lings weren't going to get anywhere. Meanwhile, we do have Hive. We now have our Lurker upgrades on the way as well. Seismic Spines is on the way. We have our Hydra. Still no Lurkers on the field. So, you know, until then, Ryung still has an opportunity to maybe pull apart his opponent.
And he's definitely trying at the moment. Once again, coming in with 2 armies. I'm digging Armani's creep spread right now. It's not, it's not too wide. It doesn't have that much volume, but it's very dense when it comes to tumors.
Yeah, it's very condensed here, or as you said, dense here, where it needs to be. But we do see Ryung with amazing splits. He's slowly gaining ground here. Again, as a reminder, there is no backbone, there is no Lurkers to contend with at the moment. And Ryung, I'm a little bit concerned, isn't really taking up. I imagine we should be seeing a Ghost Academy soon, just in case the Lurkers come out. He has seen those Hydras.
Yeah, Ghost Academy, Liberators even. Yeah, something that will be less of a risk to engage into. I mean, don't get me wrong, Stim Marines, that's ideal in 99% of scenarios, but you're really risking a lot trying to Stim by on top of Lurkers. And now we even have Vipers to make it more difficult to fix Blinded Clouds.
Yeah, Vipers are coming in. Meanwhile, we do have a decent split here from Ryung. Is it good enough? It looks like it barely is. Can he get a cancel? Force a cancel on this base. He's going to try it.
Does get a cancel. Not quite able to kill that drone as well, but at the very least is putting a wrench in Armani's economy. And as that was going on, Ryung doesn't skip a beat. You're focusing your attention towards the northeast. Towards the west, I'm gonna come in from the east. Unfortunate friendly fire coming out from that mine.
Feels bad, man. The drop did end up going down. I mean, Ryung did cancel and kill another base, so well worth it. Lurkers are finally coming out though. Now it's gonna be that much more difficult for Ryung to really force himself in, but Ghost Academy was thrown down as he was multitasking, as he was dropping all over the place, so he is transitioning into Ghosts.
Yeah, guess that was part of his multitasking there. He definitely needed to lose that supply. He was maxed out for a little while, you know. Might as well trade a couple of medevacs and Marines to be able to get some ghosts out. I do feel like he probably needs more than just what he has right now, though.
Yeah, exactly. Like, his army is great against Lingmane Hydra. He does have a couple of ghosts, but again, that's a lot of Lurkers. They are well upgraded Lurkers as well. Oh boy, here we go. They already have Lurker range. They already have adapted talents as well.
The mines, though, you don't see that every day. Connecting on a massive clump of Lurkers, but it's not quite going to be enough. It does stall the advance of Armani for a little bit. And while this is all going on, Ryung coming in with a yet another drop.
Yeah, the drop does kill this hatchery towards the top left-hand side of the map. At the same time, it looks like, oh, okay, I thought it was going to try and rotate around towards right. Does pick up a Lurker for free and does hold on to his CC, so some nice damage so far. And we were talking about how does he have enough ghosts? Not enough to fight the Lurker army, but now that ghost count is slowly getting higher.
Yeah, unfortunately, not all of his barracks are rallied, it seems, but that's very easily rectified here right now for Ryung. The snipe, just like so, is going to be enough to deal with that.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we do have defensive Lurkers here on the right-hand side. I feel like Armani recognized how vulnerable he was on the right, so he will be able to be here to help keep this hatchery up and running. Meanwhile, double Nidus being thrown down. We know how difficult it can be for a Zerg player to break through these defenses. Well, then just go around, Forehead.
Yeah, let's go under them. Let's dig under their foundations. Make it collapse. That'd be a cool thing to happen.
Oh god, maybe something for the Frustrating RTS. We'll see.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we do have a bit of a Ling run by. Ooh, decent Widowmine shots once again, going to clean up the majority of this. Can the Lings maybe get a tank?
They get a tank.
They do get that tank at the same time the lurkers try to push in. I feel like a lot of lurkers have been dying recently, not gonna lie.
They definitely have. What was that saying, Light? Lurkers are like tanks, but worse.
Yeah.
They have been falling to the tanks.
They have been falling to the tanks. Meanwhile, both Niduses do get cleaned up here in the main base. So smart by Ryung. He had a double drop waiting in the main just in case this did happen, so the Niduses do not get up. Meanwhile, looking at the units tab, we do have 11 lurkers in total. Oh, Nidus, bottom right instead.
Yeah, it's funnily enough. Is that in range of the planetary? It might be, but it's just no vision. No, I guess it's not in range.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, the main army is pushing on forward. I feel like this Nidus is a little bit of a distraction.
I'm liking those yoinks on the ghost, but the EMPs were just quick enough. Tank does go down, and Ryung loses a little bit of a foothold here towards the right-hand side.
Yeah, a lot of
I'm looking at the armies. I still kind of favor him.
Yeah, the supply unfortunately just wasn't in position. He was set up here on the left-hand side as well. That's something important to bear in mind. We have a lot of tanks and widow mines for Ryung, and they are spread out throughout the bases. They're not everywhere, or they're not all at that frontal engagement.
Yeah, compare that to the lurkers of Armani right now. They are all together, and they're all hitting as one.
Exactly. Meanwhile, a couple of snipes are going to go off. One lurker goes down, but we have 10 more where that came from. They do manage to borrow, and it looks like they will get a kill on this planetary.
Yeah, that ain't something that can be repaired easily. It all falls down. Adaptive talents right now, definitely the MVP upgrade for Armani.
Definitely. At the same time, we do have double Nidus in the main base. The Ghosts are going to try and make work of that, but at the same time, the main army is still trying to push its way through into this 5th base. Having a hard time, though. The siege line is standing strong for the time being, but the Nidus is finished.
Oh. Yeah, this is the thing that's rough for Ryung. He was maxed out, so he didn't have any reinforcements rally towards his main base. Ghosts are great when they can snipe. You can't snipe a Nidus, though. At least on one's building.
Exactly, man. Now all the lurkers are here. The Ghosts are coming in. Can they get enough snipes off?
Maybe. We do need some scans to get thrown down.
Oh, and here we go. The Ghosts come in, and it looks like they are going to be able to not even snipe. Oh, the scan! The scan! Ooh.
Scan has run out. If only this orbital wasn't lifted, man. Look at the energy it's got.
It's got so much energy. We need it, but we need it at the same time. The main army of Armani is going to rotate around towards the left-hand side instead. Bearing in mind that there are no lurkers with this, he's trying to break in with his Ling Bane Hydra, and he looks like he will barely get this planetary.
Oh, will he? It's burning down. Parrot.
It looks like it barely should. Meanwhile, we have Niduses all over the place, by the way. We have Niduses towards the right-hand side. The planetary does burn down in the end. Another Nidus coming into the main, and Ryung is being pulled apart, mate.
Yeah, what a shift in the dynamic here. Ryung going from the player who's picking the Zerg player apart to Armani being the one picking the Terran player apart.
Exactly, and fun fact, we only have 4 lurkers left, but the pure Ling Bane Hydra is coming on in. Again, Ryung is so pulled apart right now. He doesn't have everything here at his 3rd base location, and just like that, the Lings that get on top of the tanks.
Yeah, tanks will be going down, and a lot of SCVs will be going down. I kind of thought that was a pretty good split there for Ryung, but at the end of the day, it's like you said, he just does not have the right units in position at the right time. The changelings are so smart right now for Armani. GG. Armani maybe taking game #1, proving that underground mobility is better than overground mobility.
GG, well played. I was also being like, hold, I feel like there should be more supply here. Something is wrong, something is going on, and then we saw the changeling wall. We don't see enough of it, but just like that, they were holding the line, holding like 3+ tanks, a bunch of ghosts, the entire reinforcements of Ryung stuck in his main.
Yeah. Armani, he just understands how to outposition. Well, he understands how to do little things that'll keep his opponents out of position.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like there are little things like that he does, you know, like whether it's like the Ling run by straight after the Banelings, whether it's the constant Niduses, you know, again, not necessarily meant to deal damage, but at least to pull apart some supply of Ryung, just to force openings. Very well played.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you get a case of these Zerg players saying, okay, you're set up over there, I'll just get an even better setup. In Armani's case, it's I'm just going to prevent you from setting up whatsoever. And it's working out for him as we continue on to 2,000 atmospheres. LE, where of course in the bottom left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He of course is going to be representing Kwangdong Freaks, or just the Freaks. He is the most fashionable player in all of StarCraft 2. He is Armani.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of 2,000 atmospheres LE, we have the South Korean Terran player himself representing Team GP. It is Ryung.
So definitely two players who are extremely close to each other in terms of skill, in terms of personal relationship as well. And most notoriously this year at IEM Katowice, Armani did forfeit a spot, which meant Ryung was able to actually fly on down and give every older audience member, everybody who was watching, who was a little bit older, some hope. And fun fact, when he came back, he was grateful to Armani, bought him dinner.
Yeah, like Ryung did impressively, but he was insane at IM. He caused a lot of upsets, mate. He popped off. It was amazing to see, and a lot of it he does owe to Armani.
Yeah, he caused a lot of upsets. I was definitely upset when he got knocked out.
I was as well. Meanwhile, I don't know if you noticed, but Armani did open up differently. There we go. He opened up with a gas first. He went gas pool and then hatchery. I was curious as to what the gas was for, and we can see he's going for very fast roaches.
I was looking at that and I thought, no, he's not gonna roach rush in game number 2, right? Armani, you're not gonna do that after win game 1, but no, he does entirely.
Oh, exactly. Meanwhile, fun fact, Ryung did not SCV scout, so he is just going across the map now with his Reaper. The Reaper does have potential to scout here. The Queen is going to try and zone him out, but when he rocks up, he's going to see, hold on, that's a late hatchery. This is a pool first.
Yeah, but he doesn't go into confirm. He does not go into confirm. Here's hoping that Ryung does play this out a little safely. Trying to maybe getting a Banshee here or there, but for now, he just has no idea. He's getting the reactor on this barracks.
Yeah, that was a tell, by the way, because only 2 Lings rocked up, and usually if it's a pull first, there should be a couple more. The Lings obviously designed to force a cancel at that CC. Meanwhile, the Reaper rocks up, and the Reaper does scout the roaches.
And I'm worried that it might be too late right now for Ryung. He just threw down his 3rd CC.
Oh no!
Starport is not on the way right now, but thankfully he is able to grab... He does recognize this, so he immediately builds a bunker on the high ground,
he does,
not the low ground.
Yes, very important point here. You do have to hold at your ramp. You have to be willing to sacrifice your natural base. I say sacrifice, just lift it up. Just lift forehead. That's all you have to do. This is a very greedy response going for that 3rd CC, by the way.
Yeah, it was meant to be 3rd CC before Starport, but now I'm not even convinced he's gonna be able to get a Starport.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do have a Cyclone on the way, and that will definitely help. Meanwhile, it looks like the first Depot is going to go down. Repairs just not fast enough.
Yeah, he's going to be looking to replace that pretty soon. I guess one advantage to going for 3CC before Starport in the face of a Roach Ravager rush like this is that he shouldn't be supply blocked for too long, Ryung, I mean.
Yeah, oh my god, as the 2nd Depot barely survives. The Overlord went down to the Cyclone. Ryung is going to hold on, and again, very, very ballsy defense here. So, because he held with the 3rd CC instead of with the Starport, he won't be able to immediately counterattack with Banshees, so he's going to be relatively more passive instead. Stuck at home here with his Cyclones.
Very ballsy defense coming out from Ryung, but it worked.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's, I guess, important to point out, or to re-emphasize what you said there, Light. Ryung has pretty much given up the map control, at least in the early game, but that's something that Terran can definitely rectify without too much difficulty. Yep, alright, going across the map with his Cyclones, Medevac here to hot pick up if things go, if things start going south.
Interesting choice here. So he still did end up making use of this starport. I thought he was going to go across the map with the drop of Marines, but no, he's staying safe at home with his Marines. The drop of Cyclones is going into the main base. Bearing in mind, we don't have Ling's speed, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for Armani to deal with this.
Yeah, Ryung confirms the third base, and Armani has not quite seen this yet. The Cyclones do connect with a queen, which is the safer bet. Once again, confirming that's a lair.
Oh, that is a lair. Do you see, like, because I've seen some players do this from a roach rush. Do you see a spire?
I've seen a lot of players do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Well, I was gonna say, it's not a terrible idea if the Terran player opens up the sort of standard way, right, with Banshees, because then anti-air is going to be a little bit more limited than typical. But Ryung did go for the double Cyclone instead, so I think that would be insane if Armani went to Spire from here.
Yeah, we'll see. There it is. Spire is thrown down, so Armani is going from the Roach Rush straight into Mutas, but the Hellions dip in. They get another Overlord here, so these Hellions have been doing a surprising amount of damage. Armani does not have Link speed, so can keep up with those Hellions, but yeah, what's important right now is keeping Ryung in the dark.
And he is very dark. Hasn't been able to dip into that natural mineral line just yet. He's got good eyes on what the economic position of Armani is looking like, but no idea whatsoever about the tech.
I mean, he did see the lair on the way, so you were talking about it as well, how it's a very common follow-up from a Roach Rush. So I'm sure it's in the back of his mind that it's a possibility. But there we go, we have the scan to confirm.
Always got to be safe, and that's what it's entirely what the scan is for. Obviously, Ryung does have the NG base, so wouldn't take too much for him to throw in a couple of missile turrets. For now, he wants to prioritize his minerals on his army, though. Which is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, the Spire isn't done yet, so you do have time before you have to build those missile turrets. There's also the possibility, because he scanned, that Armani cancels the Spire as well. So yeah, he's gambling a little bit. Those Mutas are on the way, but Ryung is going for a push, so he's going to have to force Armani to make a choice. Do the Mutas go across the map, or do they stay at home to defend?
And what a well-timed push it was as well, considering the openings. He's already got Stim, he's got Combat Shield. 1-1 is about to finish up as well, long before Armani can really finish up his own upgrades.
Yeah, bearing in mind that we have slow Banelings to defend, we don't have any Evo Chamber upgrades whatsoever. Sorry, Baneling speed just finished up. Is it going to be enough? The Mutas, they're trying to go for the tank.
But Ryung being very conservative with his forward Marines. Marines in the backline is going to be more than enough to deter Armani for the time being.
Yeah, exactly. But with Baneling speed, it's really difficult to push into creep right now, so Ryung can't really go any further from here, not until his reinforcements come in.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit slower with how he approaches this. Feel like the switch into mines as well coming out from Ryung. Armory is about finished. Yep, has finished up, so yeah, it's going to take quite a little bit for Armani to be able to break out of this. I mean, just look at that supply difference.
Yeah, I don't know if Armani can. He may have to give up this base. We'll see. With this minefield, though, Ryung, he can just kite back, and oh god, I don't know if Armani sees it. Oh.
And seen it just yet. Loving the spread of the Widow Mines as well. Basically a concave of Widow Mines.
It really is. The gas guys is going to go down. The Marines are slowly edging forward. Meanwhile, Armani is well aware of the minefield. He was able to bile down one of them earlier. Oh, and so far, he is able to hold on strong. The Mutas want to try and dive in again.
But they're not going to get anything when there are that many Marines protecting the back line. Ryung is fishing very patiently, but Armani just ain't taking the bait.
He's really not. But I love what Ryung is doing right now. He's going to lose a couple of Marines here. He's microing on the other drop across the map at the same time. Banelings try and push it forward, but he doesn't commit.
Yeah, he biles on the tank and one of the Widow Mines as well, but doesn't lose anything to the rest of the Widow Mines. Ryung being very, very careful. And there we go. Multi-prong is something you really want to watch out for. All of the Banelings have gone down, and with that, Ryung feels no pressure pushing into this. until he sees the reinforcements, in which case he just picks up and drops to their main.
Oh, he does drop into the main base. He does target fire as many of these mutas as possible, but he just doesn't have enough staying power. But it doesn't matter because across the map, no, the overlords, 5 overlords, 6 overlords are gonna go down.
That's a massive supply block. His entire army, and yeah, Ryung, he's close to maxing out. He's just about securing that 4th base as well. He's getting ready for round 2, and this is gonna hit even harder with 2-2.
This is insane, mate. Look how many widow mines this guy has. As you were saying, 2-2 is about to finish up. Plus 2 armor just finished up, and off of creep. Armani, you do not want to fight here.
Well, he's gonna try anything he can really do to stall the advance of Ryung, but I'm not convinced that anything he's got available right now is gonna cut it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the bios have been pretty good. He has been able to bio down as many of those widow mines as possible, but that was almost every single Baneling. There's only a single Baneling left, and this base is never gonna finish.
Not at all. Maybe the base towards the north, but Ryung is still hunting down everything he can.
He's going, mate. He's
every
headed
base
there.
he can. He's just going.
Oh my god. Meanwhile, the mutas are going to try and catch some reinforcements, and they are going to pick off a couple of marines here, force a cancel on the 5th base. That's a 5th, by the way. Ryung is on 4 bases, and Armani is still stuck on 3.
That's worst case scenario right now for the Zerg player.
No!
Nice little split there towards the end. I guess, but that's still a massive chunk of Mutalist going down. Could have been worse. Could have been worse, though.
Yeah, it really could have been worse, not gonna lie. Meanwhile, here we go. Armani's gonna try and dive into the army. Oh, no splits. The Banelings do get some decent connections.
And the Widow Mine's just not able to burrow. This force of Ryung is pretty much completely forfeit, but the reinforcements have gotten into position. The Sovereign Force is still as annoying as possible.
Exactly. Armani just cannot expand. He has gotten his 4th base up and running, though. It is looking quite vulnerable. There's almost 0 creep here to really engage with. Meanwhile, here we go. Armani, he goes off creep once again.
Widow Mine? Like, yeah, thankfully for Armani, the Widow Mines do get sniped before a lot of them can really connect, but not all of them.
Mate, that's
Armani
a lot
is trading a little too inefficiently.
Yeah, he does get a lot of medevacs. It was like 5, 6 medevacs there, but he loses his 4th base. And that's the thing. It doesn't matter that he's getting all those medevacs. It's a nice pickoff, don't get me wrong, but his economy is just stuck here on 3 bases. It's in shambles. He just can never expand.
Yeah, Armani is finally starting to trade a little better, but at this point, he's going to need to do a lot better than just, trade well.
Exactly, he needs to hit the economy of Ryung, and that's the goal here of these mutas. They do circle around towards this 3rd base. Widow Mines are here. Oh god, yes, be careful not to get too close.
Very quick reactions coming out from Armani. And we'll see if it's going to be enough. This is starting to be a pretty overbearing force of Mutalists. How many have we got? 18. So not quite a catastrophe, not quite an apocalypse yet, but pretty damn close.
Yeah, like enough to have to respect here. So Ryung, he's forced to keep all these marines here at home. He's gonna try and catch these mutas. Oh, we have a little Widow Mines up.
And the Widow Mines do not get any connections. Armani's staying there until the very last second, but now there's a Thor out.
Now there is a Thor. Recall? The
Recall?
Let's
go!
Yeah, they're stuck in a really precarious place. Armani behind this does have map control, so at least the mutas buy him some breathing room. He is double expanding right now. He desperately needs one of these bases to get up.
Yeah, here's the problem with Recall here, Light, is that Armani doesn't have a mothership.
Oh no! The mutas, they just bear through the pain. They just run through all of those mutas, sorry, all of those marines. A lot of mutas do get picked up in the process.
Give it a couple of missile turrets as well, getting their shots in. It never ends! Finally, the Overseer goes down. GG is called, and Ryung will type the series sideways 1-1.
GG, well played there by Ryung, in full control. To be fair, he was in control because, again, that roach push did do some damage, don't get me wrong, but it was great. It was a great use of that medevac, the cyclones, the transition, and that muta switch, that fast spire, didn't really pay for itself there for Armani.
Yeah. Happened a little bit too quickly, funnily enough. Ryung didn't commit too far into tanks just yet, so once he was able to confirm, it really didn't take much for him to search into Widow Mines and just keep up the aggression. This is what I'm really liking about Ryung lately, is that I don't think there's any other Terran player out there who is as committed to multi-prong harass as Ryung is.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's beautiful at what he does. He's amazing. He is what you want to see. Oh, and oh boy, we'll see how this series ends up, because again, we're tied up 1-1. This is it. This is the ace match.
We very much are, as we conclude this best of 3 series on Blackburn LE. We're of course in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner. We have the blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Kwangdong Freaks, the most fashionable player of all of StarCraft 2, representing the Armani troll faction. He is Armani.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Team GP, tying up that series 1-1. It is Ryung. Now, as we get into this, I do want to give a quick shout out here to the original Booger in the chat. We didn't give you a shout out earlier, but he did subscribe with Twitch Prime earlier.
Thanks, Booger.
Thank you, Booger. Thank you. See, there's a discussion going on about this right here. I don't think Yaku can see it, but we do have a CranKy Ducklings logo.
I do have the ESL logo. So I don't delete the logos mod after I install them. I don't see a point in getting, because what happens if I need it again? You know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to re-download it.
I mean, there have been scenarios where we have different logos mods and you're stuck watching different players that aren't real. But that has happened before.
Yeah, I'm watching like Davo versus the Zerg Lord or something. I'm like, no, guys, this is totally Clement down.
Yeah. Shaking.
I don't know what you guys are on about.
Shaking my head. Oh god, but yes, this is a mod that the players do not see. Only people who have that mod installed. So like only I can see it, and Yaku, you can see the ESL mod because you have the ESL mod.
Yeah, technically, if Ryung and Armani have a different logos mod installed, they might see something different as well.
If they're observers, not as players.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I could have sworn I saw it once in a custom game, but yeah, I guess I was just seeing things once again. Unless I had the wrong logos mod installed as well. I think that's what it was actually. Yeah. I had the outdated logos mod, so it showed up when I was in a custom.
There you go. Meanwhile, we do see so far something a little bit interesting here. We have an eBay block on the third base.
What a fool! You should have blocked the gold, Ryung. You should have blocked the gold that Armani's not going for. Well, but you know what? Blocking this third, it's going to prompt Armani to get the gold.
Well, okay, there's a couple of things going on here. One, Ryung wants Armani to expand towards him or take the gold, because both of those bases as a third is very exposed. And Armani's not taking the bait, which just means that he has a late third. Like, this is well worth it for Ryung.
Yeah, no matter what, this eBay position is works out well for the Terran player. It's all about how well they're going to be able to capitalize on that position.
Man, we have 12 links on the way.
We do have 12 links on the way.
Oh,
but Ryung, he's got Hellions on the way.
He does have Hellions. It looks like Armani is going to be going for a little bit of a Ling Flood here. He does finally force a cancel at that eBay. He can finally take his third base very late, but to make up for it, he's going to be going for that Ling Flood. There is no wall at the natural base, and he's avoiding the Hellions.
He is entirely... Hellions are not in position at all. In fact, the Hellions at home are in a bit of a prime position to get surrounded.
They really are, mate. They really are. The Reaper is going to sneak into the main base to confirm. There's no, like, Roach all in or anything like that. Crazy, right? No, there's no Roaches, but there are Lings.
Quick reaction coming up from Ryung. Really good use of the choke point as well. Hellions will eventually go down, but I was going to say, I think he's dealt with the Ling Flood, but I did not expect that many Lings to survive.
Yeah, the Lings have survived. They don't get too many kills, but they do force a lot of lost mining time here. Again, trying to reciprocate the damage that was dealt here at the third base. But I'm sure Armani was hoping for a full surround on those Hellions, and I'm sure he was hoping to get a couple more SCV kills.
Yeah, one or the other. Especially the surround the Hellions. You know, you get rid of the Hellions and don't lose too many Lings, you just have full momentum.
Exactly. So very nice crisis management there by Ryung, just minimizing all that damage. Now he's going for the third base. It is a bit of a later third because he did go open up a little bit more with a 1-1-1, looking to be more aggressive.
Yeah, I think this is the first time he didn't open up with a 3cc before starport. And it kind of makes sense. Why we are on Blackburn. It doesn't necessarily lend itself too much to playing economic in the early game. What it does lend itself to is going for very strong timing attacks as a Terran player.
Exactly. Speaking of timing attacks, the Spore is not done. Again, why? Because this third base was late. Drones are falling left and right. The Banshee is having free reign here. Doesn't try to cancel that Spore, though. Instead, he wants those worker kills.
And may as well. Ryung is confident in his Banshee control already. Getting 6 drones for the price of 1 Banshee. I mean, it's already paid for itself.
Yeah, 6 drones is what you want. Meanwhile, at the same time, no, the Hellions, they come in, and there's nothing to protect the middle line.
Yeah, the Queens were unfortunately not quite in position, so from 6, he gets 11 drones, I mean, and that's a lot of momentum coming up for him.
It really is. Meanwhile, we have a full surround on these Hellions. At the same time, that Banshee is again raining hellfire upon all of these Lings. So, was it worth it here for 11 drone kills? I think so. Like, Hellions, they fall off over time. You know, they don't scale into the mid-game. You want to get rid of them. You want to kill workers. But that also means that Armani is going to have an easier time spreading creep.
Yeah, and this is super crucial right now for Armani, especially because he took a he took a third base in the back. Second Banshee comes around, and it's just continuing the legacy of the initial Banshee. 5 more drones, very nice to see.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, we have a full surround. No, there's no detection. We had a full surround of Queens, but there was no way to see the Banshee.
Yeah, it's finally run out of energy, but it is too late for the Queens to take it out. You know what this means? 2 Banshees. Ryung's got one-shot potential on his hands.
He does have it on his hands, mate. The 2 Banshees are here. Meanwhile, Armani just confirming, okay, it's not a 2-base all-in. You do have a third, so I do have a little bit of freedom to drone up. But, I mean, he's been having to drone up to basically re-drone everything that he's lost. And Ryung, he's coming again, this time with a drop.
Yeah, he's going to make sure that Armani can do nothing but build drones this game.
Boy. Oh god, here we go. I mean, more Lings are on the way here for Armani. Interesting, he's actually going Ling Bane Roach Ravager, so he's going to try and combine the 2 kind of compositions here. Is it going to be enough though? The Widowmine does borrow. Oh my god, how good is this shot going to be? Up!
Well, the shot doesn't even come off yet because Ryung doesn't want to waste it! Ooh. Very nice connection there on top of the Lings, but at that point, Ryung was forced to lift up and evacuate. He even loses 1 medevac full of Marines, so not the best trade, but definitely one that Ryung can still recover from if he goes for his follow-up push.
Definitely. I mean, yo, that was a juicy Widowmine shot, mate. That was... Oh my god, and now he still has these Marines to clear up as much of the creep as possible. He gets every single tumor.
Yeah, every fresh one. At the very least, and that's just a little bit annoying for Armani to sort of deal with. I do like his composition, though, Armani, I mean. It lends itself to Blackburn very, very well.
Oh, it really does. It really does. Like, again, this may not scale incredibly well into the mid-game, but this will help survive against tank pushes, against Widowmine pushes. Meanwhile, the 2 Banshees are back. You know, they're still alive. Oh my god, one of them has 13 kills, the other 7, and they're gonna get more.
Ouch. Gold base just a little too exposed right now for Armani. Once again, coming in with the multi-prongs, Ryung is.
Oh yeah, we do have a Widowmine drop here into the natural base. Is going to burrow at the same time. We see a full surround on these Marines, but are they really surrounded? You know, oh god.
Yeah, it was a little bit mistimed, and I blame that entirely on the slow zones, but it's still Marines versus Roaches and Ravagers. Marines on your own, even with Stim, are going to have a tough time dealing with that.
Yeah, here we go. Armani invested so much into this push. He does have the supply lead. As you were saying, Roach Ravager isn't ideal against Marines, but the boys are going to have to be pulled.
Yeah, there's just that much more supply right now available for Armani than for Ryung, but with the pulling of the boys, so many of these Ravagers have started to go down, and the Roaches follow quickly after. A couple of Marauders are getting thrown into the mix. Ryung has switched from Widowmines to tanks, and that is the premier anti-roach unit for Terran.
That's the problem with Armani's army overall. Roach Ravager is okay, but you need Biles to zone away the Marines. Instead, he was using all of his Biles to try and connect with the Widow Mines, so the Marines had nothing to worry about. They just stimmed and they just winned, and there's almost nothing left. We only have Vanilla Ravagers. Sorry, Vanilla Roaches even.
And this is why Terran loves to play on Blackburn. Doesn't take long to get across the map and push into the Zerg opponent. But Ryung is still playing this safe. He could afford to lose his SCVs earlier on, but he did lose quite a number of them. He doesn't have the most impressive army out right now. There is still a possibility that Armani can defend if he pushes out, if Ryung pushes out right now, and then go for a counterattack. So yeah, good adjustment coming out from Ryung.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he also dealt damage pushing out up to the halfway point. He just forced Armani to make more roaches. You know, like the drone count of Armani is nothing special. He does have the gold base, which does help out, but again, it does feel like Armani is pretty all in here, going in for a second wave.
It definitely feels that way, even though he does have a decent and strong economy. This is a lot of roaches and ravagers, but Ryung is fighting on the ramp, and there is a tank to back all of this up. The roaches are taking a lot of hits from that one tank. And the bio is still alive. It's starting to get thinned out though.
Yeah, mate, that tank is the MVP. SCVs are being pulled again, which again, Ryung can afford to do. Armani is all in. Ryung can afford to lose workers.
He doesn't lose that many of them, but things are starting to change with the shift in focus right now of Armani. Going for the 3rd and 70 natural. The matter of fact lives, and so does every single SCV.
That was so close. Meanwhile, this gold base has been going unhindered. We have a planetary there as well. Widow Mines come in across the map, not dealing too much damage, but they force a lot of this mine time at this gold base, which means that Armani can't really reinforce.
Yeah, that gold base available to Ryung is part of why he can afford to lose SCVs. And just mill that gold and be back on even footing, at least temporarily.
Yeah. Oh boy, exactly. So thankfully, he does have that going for him. Meanwhile, it looks like, yeah, a couple of roaches are stopping the mining at the gold.
That's actually pretty massive right now. Ryung has just about spent his bank. Being very active and very aggressive when it comes to trying to defend this position. And it does mean that he's losing a bit of a battle of attrition.
He really is, mate. He needs one of these bases, whether it's his 3rd, whether it's his gold, one of them needs to be mining right now. And thankfully, Ryung does regain control of his 3rd base. He is heading on over. He wants to try and deal with these roaches as well. Ooh, Ryung is surviving. Armani, thankfully, was taking up behind this, working on more upgrades, and he is working on an infestation pit.
Yeah, finally, Armani can kind of heave a sigh of relief right now. It's probably the first time in this game that he's ahead in the worker supply and, you know, about on track with his tech path.
Exactly. Like Ryung, he just can't mine from this gold. It's just not happening right now. Ryung needs to evacuate, maybe gets another base, but unfortunately he can't lift up a planetary, so he's kind of stuck with what he has. Armani, Hydrogen's on the way, mate. He wants to get into lurkers. Oh, never mind.
Does he?
He's getting everything.
Wow.
Oh my god.
That's the power of the gold base right there.
True, the power of the gold. So we have the hydrogen. There we go. Hydro upgrades are on the way. So now Armani, he has options with what he wants to do, with where he wants to go with this army composition.
And the answer to that, for the time being anyway, is going to be the gold base of Ryung.
Exactly. The gold base so far is not mining. I feel like Ryung just needs to throw down another CC. He has the minerals for it. He needs a different base and maybe look to regain control of this gold later on. Armani being so active here, being so annoying.
Even just rotates around. A nice rare tank still coming in from Ryung, and Armani's well aware of it. That's a line of Zerglings being eliminated immediately.
Yeah, he was aware of it. He's now aware of it, yeah.
Yeah.
the tank line. Oh, good. Just face checking a little bit here, clearing up some supply. Vipers are on the way. That'll definitely help against that tank line. Going for abducts, going for those blinding clouds. Roach Hydra, not a competition you see too often. Again, I'm surprised the Lurker Den wasn't thrown down. He's going for a Greater Spire instead.
Huh. So Brute Lords are going to be the name of the game for him, which isn't a bad idea. Brute Lords are one way to break a siege line, or a fantastic way to break a siege line.
Yeah. They're definitely a great form of tech. Meanwhile, the drop towards the north does pull apart the army a little bit. Armani is well aware of the tank line, bearing in mind that because of all this aggression, Armani's creep spread is not really there. He's connecting his bases with each other, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, we can see that starting to bite him a little bit as Ryung takes full advantage, stims on forward to the gold base, and there's a really nice spread off of creep as well.
Ooh, exactly, there's no way to engage here, and I feel like Armani recognizes that. He's instead going for a massive Ling run by. We do have some reinforcements, but are these reinforcements going to be enough to defend against the Lings?
Well, it depends entirely on how good the surround is, and it is just not good enough right now for Armani.
Exactly. Meanwhile, we do have a couple of roaches rocking up as well. Again, he needs to get rid of these roaches. They are dead supply at the moment. Roaches do get cleaned up, and at the same time, that gold base goes down.
Finally.
But throughout all of this, Corruptors are on the way. Armani has been able to sneak him out, and he's making his first wave of Broodlords.
Oh, will he? Okay, yeah, he's already making them.
Yeah.
I was a bit concerned. I was like, wait, is he supply blocked? It's like, no. He's supply blocked because he's making Broodlords.
Exactly, and what's scary is that Ryung hasn't seen this. He has no idea. He hasn't seen the Broodlords. He never saw the Spire. He sees Hydra Roach. The logical conclusion from here are lurkers. He's making ghosts right now. Ghosts are good against Broodlords, don't get me wrong, but again, like, mentally, he's not quite prepared for what's about to hit him.
Yeah, Ghosts can be pretty good against Broodlords if you can get your snipes in, or if you EMP the Vipers first, but it's just like you said, like, they're not quite as reliable as something like Vikings.
Yeah, here we go. The Broodlords finally reveal themselves, and just like that, I feel like Ryung, I don't know if he really wants to fight here. He's kind of stuck, though, because if he does Unsiege, then Armani's just going to dive on him.
Like so.
Here we go. The Broodlords are actually a little bit exposed. Two of them get sniped.
Yeah, but at the cost of a lot of Marauders as well. Mostly due to friendly fire, I think. Not so much due to the Broodlords. Vipers save just enough energy for a blinding cloud, and so they use it.
Yeah, and just like that, Ryung is on the run. He's trying to switch into Ghosts. He's trying to pump out a couple of Vikings as well. But with the power of the Broodlord, it looks like he's doing a little bit too much. At the same time, one Liberator gets 18 kills. Oh my god. 10 kills, sorry. A lot regardless.
Pretty good, pretty good. Other drones are starting to fall by Banshees and whatnot.
The Lib is still there, going ham at the same time. Armani's pushing on in. His worker count is in shambles right now, but it's all about the army.
Yeah, decent split coming down. Better pair of bombs coming out from Armani, but the
snipes.
snipes though,
yeah,
bellissimo is what they were. Broodlords starting to get really low. Ryung dodging all the piles, and he just stutter steps on forward onto everything. The last of the Broodlords is about to get stimmed out. GG is called, and Ryung takes that series 2-1 with some very, very special tactics.
Yeah. GG, well played. Ryung's snipes were absolutely insane, mate. He got so many of the lurkers, Broodlords, not just the Broodlords, also the Vipers as well. And the Bio army just completely shredded up the ground army. It was a meat grinder. Again, that's why, like, it was a little bit of everything. It was Roach, Ravager, Hydra. They're not that great against Marines.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Ling Bane is such a big staple, you know?
OP, yeah. Man with Gun was so overpowered that that the heavens needed to create very specific counters. Specifically, the Zerg Lords. Not the Zerg Lord, but... Like, what I'm saying is, Marines have direct counters, and then Marines direct counter everything else.
Exactly, like that's why usually you see if you don't go for banelings, usually you'll accompany this with a different form of splash damage. Specifically,
I drank wrong. Yep, my bad.
Specifically, they're still doing their videos. Specifically, you know, there's a reason why Broodlord Infestor is such a big thing, right? You know, you have your fungals lock down and have that splash damage and keep your Broodlord safe and sound. Or, you know, Ling Bane, you know, like pick your poison sort of thing. Instead, we did see that Armani relied more on Vipers and their blinding clouds. And we saw that, yo, he threw down blinding clouds and the army just stemmed forward. Like, it's like, what, so?
Pretty much. There is a way of utilizing the... There's definitely a style of ZVT that involves utilizing the Vipers, but it's not just the Vipers alone with Root Lords or Roach Ravager. It's, like you said, Vipers, Infestors, and even Queens, you know, just to add a little bit extra in the end there. Oh, what's going on?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, we're all leaving this lobby.
There's no WCS game heart.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So, GG, well played there to Armani, as he did fight his heart out, but of course, Ryung came out on top. He moves on in the bracket to face another Zerg player.